yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, and thank you for the reminder. Did you press record? Because I wasn't looking at my script, as may have been obvious. Until great big letters that say, please hit record now. We're not lit up. And so I just hit record. Charlie, sorry we missed your intro on this, but we'll come back to you. Sorry, Brianna, go. Did you have more to say?
No, I think that's my intro.
Look at you, you're knitting. I love that.
I'm knitting. I'm also a knitter.
She's in many, many things. This one. All right. Judd Caswell. Say hi. How are you? Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, my pleasure. So I'm Judd Caswell. I am not in the Midwest. I'm in Maine. My wife is from Grand Haven, Michigan, though, so I feel like I'm a little bit grandfathered in there. I have also been in the position that Charlie mentioned. I started looking at video right before everything sort of shut down. I've had a recording studio in my home for 20 years now. And so I've always been focused on sound, and just sort of felt like for years I have felt like I really needed to start working on getting video to be something that I offer as well. And it just happens that a couple of months before everything shut down, I bought a nice camera and started playing with it, and then put a video up, and then within a week, all the shows were gone, and so I started. So I have a recording studio. I'm also a performer, songwriter, and so I dug into making YouTube and Facebook videos and doing some live streaming, and for 125 episodes or so on, I did and so I started. I did a song every day from end of March till about Labor Day. And DaVinci is what the video editing software that I've been using to piece this together, and I also use it I am making YouTube services for the UU Church in Brunswick. So I've been assembling church services as well ever since March. Also using DaVinci for most of that time, and had a real good session, and I learned a lot just getting to talk to people last time around. I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation.
Nice. Sorry about that little echo there. I was just checking the live stream, so we got it all working. Y'all, your mugs are out there. All right, Dennis Kingsbury, you are my next victim, and I am canceled. There we go. Hi, Dennis.
Hey, everybody. So I'm looking for this raise hand thing, and I don't see it, but I see a go faster button. So I'll probably see a few of those hit while I'm talking.
Well, you're a host. That's why you don't see it.
Oh, I see.
If you're a guest, you'll see it. But as a host, you don't get to raise your hand that way. But you can flag me. So.
Okay. So besides being a musician, I also involved in at least 3 organizations that have something to do with music. Mama's Coffee House and the West Bloomfield Library has a music series, and Lost Voices does concerts from now and then. So when all of a sudden we couldn't perform live, I wanted to see what we could put together to do virtual concerts, and I wanted to do more than one camera angle shot for virtual concerts. So I've been spending a lot of time with OBS and cameras, so that in the middle of a concert I can switch view, maybe a face view, and then a full body view, and maybe an audience view as the concerts go on. So that's my story. I also found a way to front end Zoom, so we're using Zoom for this meeting, but I have OBS sitting over here with the camera inputs, and I'm sending that to Zoom. I also found the same software will send it to StreamYard. So this Saturday I'm being the local tech guy for Dana Cooper concert at the Ark, and I hope to be doing the same thing so we can switch cameras in the middle of, not in the middle of a song, but between songs or for the audience participation. That's my story.
Nice.
Well, I'm gonna go back around because right now I'm not seeing any hands raised. And I don't know if that means you guys are just here to hang out and listen to us chat, because chances are we could keep chatting for a while. And one thing we did not do is talk about Brandon O'Sullivan has been part of our Tech Talks as well. Sorry, Dennis, I'm removing your spotlight. So we'll go back to, I saw Brianna, honey, I saw your hand up. All I was going to say is about Zoom. If you have questions about Zoom, I've gotten fairly fluent in it, although it may not appear that way right now. So, but I want to get back to that, Dennis, because I want to know how you're doing that camera switching. We're going to go talk about that in a second. Brianna, I'm going to spotlight you, and I see a hand raised.
Yeah, I have a question for Judd. I admittedly missed your thing, and I'll go watch it again. I'm curious about Da Vinci. Can you give me like a quick kind of overview, or why I would use Da Vinci over something like iMovie, or just why Da Vinci?
So DaVinci over iMovie, because iMovie, I think iMovie can only assemble 2 separate video tracks together, so you can only piece together two camera shots or two, which I wanted to do. I did these things where there's 6 of me playing instruments. Also, iMovie doesn't have the kind of audio mixing capability that DaVinci has.
That's huge.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I didn't get to demonstrate last time, and I've got something queued up. If we have some time today, I can show you a little bit about like what the audio mixer looks like in DaVinci. The other reason DaVinci's free. iMovie's free if you're on Mac, but DaVinci is something that you can download and use for nothing.
Well,
And I like the workflow of DaVinci better than something like, I guess Final Cut was the other one I was trying. Final Cut has a way of assembling clips that it feels like stuff is glued to your mouse. Whatever you do, I don't know. It wasn't the way I want it to work. It felt awkward to me. And DaVinci feels more natural. It feels like editing in I don't use Pro Tools, but I use Cakewalk Sonar and I use Logic. So it feels like working in a digital audio workstation to me. It feels like working in a DAW.
Awesome. That's really, really good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say go. Oh, Charlie, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say one major interest I have in DaVinci is the color correction abilities, and it is considered the industry standard. The big filmmakers are using DaVinci now for color correction, so it's pretty powerful software. So compared to iMovie or Filmora, which is what I commonly use with my weaker system, it's got a lot of bells and whistles, and for free,
Yeah.
you gotta think along those lines.
Right.
The thing DaVinci doesn't do that iMovie does well is Apple has all these little wizards built in where you just click a button and it looks like you're in a 1850s photograph, or you click a button and it does film noir grain, or it does something fancy and aesthetic with text. I haven't seen a lot of that stuff in DaVinci. You can do this. You can do the same kinds of things, and I'm sure there's a way to do it. But it's like the stuff that I found that came built in with it, like animated text and stuff. The defaults for that, as I sort of said last time, it looks like something straight out of a human resources PowerPoint presentation. It doesn't look like an Apple sort of slick, or a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like stuff looks like right out of the box with Apple.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so Judd, I'm leaving you in the spotlight right now because there's a couple of things coming in, and I want you to go ahead and you mentioned some of the new audio stuff you would wanted to dive deeper into some of the audio stuff you have, but before audio mixing, right? I think it's one of the things you wanted to show us
Yeah.
more of. But right now, I'm just going to say, Mark Smith's hand won't raise. Mark, do you have a question for Judd? If you do, just type it in the chat if you don't mind. And
I guess I put it in the chat as well, but I think Judd also has the completed multi-Judd version.
Yeah, that's something I assembled. Mark said he wanted to see sort of how to assemble, a multi-shot video, more than one thing on screen at once. Sort of like those like the acapella videos, right? And I don't know how much time we want to spend on that. I did a quick run through of it last time, just sort of showing the process. I don't know if we do we want to go back and have me show that sort of assembly again, or should I start up with sort of show you what I've got, and you can poke around and see I can show you how it's set up?
Yeah. Well, let's wait right now. Because I would encourage people to go back and watch your Tech Talk is up on our website. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. You should be able to go back and see that. So don't necessarily want to rehash all of that, but if we have time at the end and there's no other questions, but for sure, like, reach back out to that. I'm just seeing some comments from Chris. Hi, Chris. He says, DaVinci, you all can read the comments. You don't need me to read them. So hopefully you can see them in the chat. And then I see a hand raised. Carlene.
Did you see Elaine's question for Judd too?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did see Elaine's question and I went right over there. Judd, have you used Fillmore Wondershare? Any comparison, if so?
I haven't, but Charlie says he does.
Yeah, that's the one I primarily use for all my YouTube work. It's fairly simple. It's very affordable. It's $39 a year for the Fillmore 9. The Fillmore Pro is a bit more like DaVinci Resolve, so there's a lot more bells and whistles. But for a fairly simple piece of software, I can get an awful lot done. I really haven't run into any walls. My only complaint is for audio stuff, I do need to go back to Cubase to get things the way I want them and then drag them back in. Whereas with DaVinci, you have the ability to do all that and use plugins. Does DaVinci use VST plugins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And audio units. If you're on Mac, audio units as well. So.
Mm-hmm. So, but Fillmore is great, and it works on a. The reason I'm not using DaVinci is because my system's just not keeping up with it. It has more to do with the hardware and under the hood. And Fillmore seems to be a lot more friendly for a system. And I'm running a quad-core 2 gigahertz i7 with 12 gigabytes of RAM, to give you an idea of what I'm going with. And I've done it with 8 gigabytes of RAM with a little more clunkiness.
Do you know what generation your i7 is?
I imagine it's fairly new. I bought this thing when my check came from Mr.
Oh, so it's new.
Yeah. I'm not going to say his name.
I'm really surprised that DaVinci is hanging up on a new machine. I wonder what else is going on with that.
I don't know. I have to play with it a little bit more, but
yeah,
I was in the middle of editing a long interview and then it crashed and I went back to it. I know.
It's confusing. And I just want you guys to know that this, just for a little piece of tech right in here, as somebody who's monitoring this Zoom thing, I've got you both spotlighted, Judd and Charlie, and I'm watching the live stream. And some people may be seeing both of you. I don't know if they are, but hopefully when each one talks, they're popping up on the screen. at least. So it's almost like spotlight view. And I'm watching the live stream, and that's what's happening. So for me, figuring out a lot of this tech, Zoom to live stream to all that has just been trial and error. And so thank you for letting me experiment on you right now. Okay, so I'm seeing, so let's go to Carlene. If Carlene, are you ready to ask your question? And
Yes. Can you hear me?
we can.
Okay. It's probably a question for Brianna. I am a singer-songwriter, but my day gig is in the office at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville.
Yay.
And so they've got me streaming this Mary Gaucher show next Thursday. And I don't really know what I'm doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, but so far, I think we're going to go OBS to StreamYard. Where I'm getting stuck is, like, we want to stream to the Bluebird YouTube and Facebook, but then Mary and Jamie also want to stream to their Facebook pages. So do I need to be an admin on their pages to do that?
I would say the simplest way. So I don't use OBS, so someone else can probably answer the OBS question of how to get that lined up with StreamYard. But we've done similar projects where we stream to like 4 places instead, and I just ask for their temporary approval for their the artist for temporary approval for their sites wherever they want to stream. So it'll go right from our StreamYard to our 2 locations, Facebook and YouTube, and then whatever other locations they give me permissions for.
Okay.
That seemed to be the easiest way to go about it. Yeah, it just takes a little coordination, I suppose.
Okay. I think I've got it working from OBS to StreamYard. It was just
Okay.
yeah. So
Does
awesome. Thanks.
would the stream key bypass the need for permissions for administrative?
Oh, right. You could probably use the stream key in OBS and just use the StreamYard account for, yeah, I don't know. I feel like yeah, I guess I'm not sure why to put OBS in the mix when you could do it the way that I'm talking about. Although OBS does have an opportunity to give better sound quality. But that's if Mary's using OBS as well.
Right. Well, I know because they'll be doing it at the club. So
Oh,
it'll be
right.
through our computer. But when we tried to stream to stage it, we had to go through OBS because our camera was too fancy. Like stage it couldn't handle it. So I may not need to go through OBS, but
yeah, I would say a stream key is a way around it too, so you don't have to have permissions. And then I would have perhaps another person working on that end from her team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in and just say that I think, and I'm seeing Chris responding here too, that there's really can only be one stream key, right? Then that stream key is what you put into whatever is feeding everything else.
Right.
Understanding things correctly. And I know you can only put one stream key into OBS, and so it's got to come from somewhere. So it seems like you're going to get the stream key from, do you get stream key from Streamlabs? This is my, or StreamYard?
No, there's no stream key.
Get it all. So how? So you've got to get a stream key from, that's why I like Restream. And I'll tell you.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Restream is the answer.
We're using Restream right now, and we could take, the key comes from Restream. And right. That's what you would put in OBS.
So you would use that instead of StreamYard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Restream is, it's got a price on it if you want more than, but you could probably buy it for a month and put it away if you don't like it. Right? So because I've really like Restream, and I've got admin access to a handful of pages, and they're all up there. And I just click the one I want.
Okay.
Out there, and yeah, it's been working great. So
Yeah,
Try that.
that sounds like a good answer. The only reason I use, not the only, but one of the main reasons I use StreamYard is because it's so simple.
Yeah.
And I'm working with some novice folks who are in all different locations, and there's no finding of keys and finding
Right.
where to put the keys. So that's yeah, I would look into Restream if I were you.
Okay.
So, Elaine, I'm going to let you ask your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
It's
Thanks.
for Brianna. Thanks, Carlene. And there's a Restream on our website. There's a Restream demo.
Thing on yeah. I see Elaine's question in the
Yes.
in the chat.
Right. Is there a free version of StreamYard?
I believe so. It's been a long time since I've been on the first page. I think the reason why I didn't do the free version is because it only goes to one location. And I thought that was a kind of a, like, why not just stream live from that location then?
Right.
So, and then the other thing about streaming from StreamYard to one location in a freeway is that it's branded with StreamYard.
Oh, that's right.
StreamYard
Yeah,
Doc.
I remember that now. Yeah, I couldn't find a way on StreamYard to stream to more than one place, and there's no point. So I was streaming. I used a Restream to try to stream to Facebook, to YouTube, and to Twitch. I don't know if we have any people who are Twitch experts here. I would love to have a Twitch tech talk if that's on the agenda.
Yep.
And I found Restream really difficult to navigate. It didn't like my computer camera, so I need to buy a different camera. I had to upgrade my internet connectivity because Facebook automatically compresses when it streams and uploads, and Restream doesn't. So I had tech trouble with that. I would do like, I was trying to bring guests on, and I would do like hour-long tech, test the techs with them ahead of time, and it would still not work. So if you're loving Restream, Annie, I would love to hear more about that, because I gave up. I didn't see that I had enough of a path to generating income quickly enough to commit to StreamYard, which is what, like 15 or 20 a month, which doesn't sound like very much, but
yeah,
times an infinite number of months and no income can start to add up. And Restream, I had a lot of trouble with. So if there's a secret, I would love to.
Secret. I can tell you, well, did you see the tech talk that Brandon did on Restream?
No, that's the one I think I asked you about, right?
I think it's out there on our website, and just, time
That's
to
on
plug.
I had some actual live gigs, believe it or not, the past couple weeks. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Well, no, they're just my church and temple jobs. But anyway, that's on. I asked you for that, and I can't wait to see it. But I'm interested in what other people have done to deal with it. So
I think if you can make, it's $20 a month to sign up for. I think they've increased it to 4 locations now for StreamYard, and if you can justify it by saying I'm gonna make $20 this month on shows to test it out, I think it's worth just diving in and just trial and error it. And I think I have like a referral thing that might make a month cheaper. I'll look for that referral code and I'll put it in the chat for everyone. And
I guess a corollary question is what other people are doing about when to ask for donations for their streaming shows, if it's by immediately or by number of views, because I've been reluctant to do that until I feel like there's enough of a following, and I'm not sure what enough is for everyone. So that's part of that. I feel like you can $20 isn't a month, and $5 isn't a month, and the extra 30 I'm paying now a month for the internet isn't enough, but it can add up pretty quickly to an extra 100 a month for each of these services. And I haven't known where's the point where I say, well, then since I'm giving you all something there, please help me make it possible. So I would love to hear you guys talk about that.
I'm going to chime in and just say that's kind of the money topic is a great one, and we probably need to have more conversations about that. We've had a couple of these, but I'm going to guess that most of the artists in this group would say, don't feel bad asking for money, because at the very least you need to get tips for the shows you're doing, and then offset what you're paying for. Like I can imagine making 100. I would be surprised if you could make this money that you'd have to pay. And if I were to so it's a very personal decision, and I'm not gonna, I'll let the chat have this discussion because I think I want to stick to tech instead of money today, even though we're talking about spending money on tech. Hey, let's if Dennis, I'm gonna find you somewhere. Thanks so much, Elaine. I'm gonna find you somewhere. Oh, all right, David Roth, ask your question, and then we'll find Dennis.
Hey, it's good to see you all. And first of all, my hat's off to all of you diving into this tech. I'm just trying to write the next great song, and I don't know where you find time to do all this. So my overall question to nobody in particular is a venue here on Cape Cod has asked me if I'd be interested in resurrecting their coffee house, which has been on hiatus for several months. And I'm going back and forth whether or not to do it from their little tiny chapel or from home. The reason I'm considering their chapel is because that would differentiate it from all the other concerts and appearances I've done from home, instead of it just being another one from home with the name of their coffee house behind me, So can anybody weigh in on who's done these shows from a venue, however empty or, spaced out the audience might have been? If you see pros or cons to doing that to make it feel a little bit more like the venue and not just another concert from home.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yes, but I'm going to say, I'm seeing Brianna raising her hand. She's probably I also was wondering if there was anybody here from a venue who's experienced this, but Brianna, go ahead and take this. And
I was just going to make sure to say what we were talking about at the last peer group session is that we kind of at the peer group sessions we've been taking everybody's temperatures on whether outdoor live shows or in-person shows are worth it or not, and everybody's like kind of like that as a general reaction, so going into a space to record, I know a lot of venues that are doing that. We decided not to do that with our venue because we just don't even want to be in that uncomfortableness of being around anyone or setting up microphones for anyone. I'd say being in your home is actually really kind of cool because we get to see a glimpse of what books you have on your shelf or what pictures you have on the wall. And I actually really enjoy that about live performances, and then really just talking about your experience in these places and saying you miss these places or this particular place or whatever, or I remember when I did a show there and and I think that gets a lot across in a live stream. And also speaking techly is that that you can control your own space much better than you can control a space that you need to bring your gear to.
Yeah.
There's I had an idea that I haven't implemented yet, but my thought was to go to the coffee shop where I do my open mics, to take a very, very nice high resolution photo of the staging area and then green screen it behind me. I've kind of gotten away from using green screen too much because, overkill and it's complicated, but that's an option. And certainly in Zoom, you can always the green screen is really easy to use. So anybody in the Zoom room can use that same file and create that sort of idea of having the staging behind them.
Yeah, I like that idea. I've spotlighted Floyd over here, Dennis, mostly because you've been pretty quiet through this, and so I kind of wanted to give you a chance to chime in. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're doing something similar with the Dana Cooper show, right? You want to talk a little bit about what you're doing?
That is going to be from a house, and it's a nice house. I believe it's going to be outside. Uh, I can't give you more information than that. But my answer, David, my opinion is, does the coffee house have a nice setting? And does it have the tech, the internet to support doing it from there? And that would be what I'd make my decision on.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could just respond briefly to Brianna's answer, I know everything you're saying about the bookshelves and the home environment, but my experience is people have gotten plenty of that. So I'm looking for a way to differentiate and put them in the place. In here, Cape Cod is an island. They love this little Unitarian chapel in the Pines. To put them there to make it feel different and more like they're there, and of course, the smartest thing I've already done is I've got Brandon working with me on it. So I've got that covered. That was step number one. But I was just really, looking at how to make it feel different from the events that I've done and give people on my little island the sense that they're in this beloved little hall.
Oh, you're muted, Annie.
I agree with Dennis. If the tech is there and you can make it a great experience, then sure. I know there's venues that are doing it. And there's a handful. I think Cafe Lena's been doing some stuff from their spot. They bring the camera crews in, and so it's a great way to continue to support the venue as well, right? Yeah, that's awesome. And Brandon is the best. So we need to train more people.
Jonathan Bird streams from a venue every Wednesday too.
Oh, he's been doing that since like even before the lockdown.
Oh, yeah.
They just kept doing it.
Yep.
Cool.
Could I chime in?
Who said that? Yes.
Mike McNevin.
Sure. Hi, Mike.
Hey, how's it going? David, I'm in the Mud Puddle Shop, so I've done about 52 shows from this place. It's a small venue, and what's nice about it is that I can transform the space, little by little, and then I don't have to reconfigure it. So if you're able to leave gear up and set up, or at least have it pretty easy to reset, if you have to drag it out all the time. But there's definitely an advantage to, I think, just not looking like you're in a living room. I think people like to visit the venue in their head, because I've had a lot of people here. I've had probably 15 years worth of shows and jams. So I think when they come here, they listen to the show and they feel like they're getting out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael, yours is one of the settings that I particularly enjoy watching you in.
Thanks, Dennis.
Well, I can talk, briefly, like when you look at Judd. So let's spotlight Judd for a minute. Okay, I apologize. My mouse isn't working. I'm going to make it happen. Spotlight. Judd, hi. So your black curtain right there. Rod and I were asked to do a show for a venue, and a typical show at that venue would have a beautiful black curtain in the background. And so we decided when we were going to do that show that we were going to change our usual background and put a big old black curtain up. And we've since kind of kept it because we really liked the way it looked. But, if you can't get to a venue, changing up your location in your house, or adding some sort of decorative background that makes it look a little bit different, like you're at a different place, can also be effective, I think. So, but yeah, again, I love this chat personally. I think it's great. And, if this is what everybody wants to talk about, I'm down with it. But I do know that Judd has some fancy audio mixing stuff that you want to share. Do you want to share it, or? I'm
not in any hurry for that. It's not fancy. It's really just a demonstration of what DaVinci looks like when you're mixing audio in it. But it kind of just looks like a slightly it's a slightly hobbled digital audio workstation. is what it is.
Yeah.
So if you know what that looks like, you know what this will be.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll bring it back. I'm seeing. Okay, so let's look through. We've got Chris. Hey, Chris Gooseman. Where are you at? I see you in here. You got a lot of input here, and I'm appreciating what you're saying. So I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh no.
I'm putting you on the spot. So we're talking
Oh,
about.
hi everybody. I'm new to Folk Alliance. Annie has, about 2 years ago, talked to me about it, and I finally just ponied up the membership money a few days ago. And when this popped up, I thought it'd be fine. I'm actually a mastering engineer, and have been for a long time. So, but in my day job, I do online teaching for the University of Michigan. So I've got a fair amount of experience in this video stuff.
And what have you been using? Have you been doing live streaming?
Yeah. So, we use Zoom for a lot of things. We use OBS for some things. And then my wife, actually, I've helped her out. We use OBS here at the house to do live streams for her. She's, while she's not a performer in a musical sense, she does a lot of live speaking to large groups, and that all obviously dried up over the last several months. So a lot of virtual events now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've gotten fairly handy at OBS, and have been doing video conferencing for almost 20 years because of my other work. So it does seem somewhat second nature to me these days.
Well, maybe we should talk and see what else. Bring you back for more elaborate chat. We're always looking for new things. I'm going to switch to gallery view for a second because I'm right now I'm wanting to see a bunch of faces, and I'm going to be honest. I may be handing the reins over to one of my cohorts because my mouse is getting wonky again. So we'll see. That might be why I'm having a hard time controlling what's going on here. So, but by show of hands, that we can see, I think I can see everybody so if you've got your face up, how many of you are actually using OBS right now? I'm curious. Actually using it with.
Like currently?
Not right now, but like
okay.
just like your go-to, the actual OBS restream. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep your hands up for a sec. Cool. How many of you would like to use OBS but are just too scared of it?
I'm not too scared of it, to be honest, but I say this a lot. It's like, if I was doing my own shows, like I've taken a hiatus from my own music. If I was doing my own shows, I would definitely be doing OBS. Yeah. And it would definitely be worth the headache and the fear. But I have not found a purpose yet in my life. And the key word is yet.
Yes. We'll keep the yet going on.
Express an opinion here?
Yes, please, Dennis, go.
If it was just me and I wanted to be simple and easy, I would go with StreamYard. But OBS, in my opinion, has a lot more things you can do with it, but there's some things you can't do with it. You can't stream to more than one site without something on the back end. But, for me, use it as a front end and a camera switcher. That's exactly what I want to use it for.
So how do you do this camera switcher thing?
Well, I can't show you my screen, but you set up a scene in multiple scenes, and a scene can have one or more cameras in it, and you can resize the box that camera view is in. And then
Joe Flip did the first OBS talk, and he actually did a nice little demo of it. So of how to put like 2 screens in one, and how to flip flop. Like it's like one screen is set up that you put things into, and then you have to switch it over to the actual live thing. That was a really horrible explanation.
What I have here is 3 cameras, and they are layered by I have camera 1, camera 2, camera 3 in my scene, and whichever's on top is on top of the pile of cameras. So I can just turn off the top one to get the second one, turn off the second one to get the third one. That's one way of doing it. Real simple way of doing it.
But you're just using your mouse. You don't have any kind of
That's correct, but you can use your keyboard.
Sure, like make shortcut keys for those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
We bought one of those camera. We bought one of the A10 mini things.
ATEMs, yeah.
And Rod and I have been, we have spent hours, I'm telling you, trying to figure out like why we bought this piece of software. You know, because with cameras, I don't know if you can, like, I've got a handful of cameras behind me, and you know, we bought all these extra cables, these funky cables that you need to plug each one of those things in. And it's honestly, and every time we just kind of go back to OBS.
Yeah.
Just say,
Well,
screw it. One camera, that's all we're going to do.
Are you using
even if you're
OBS?
using Zoom, if you only have 2 cameras on your PC, you can Alt-N to switch. So if you can, you know, hit over to the keyboard between chords on your guitar and hit Alt-N, you can do that.
Really?
I've seen people use foot switches.
Yeah.
I don't know what piece of hardware they're using, but there are foot switches available where you can switch between various cameras.
I'm going to give away a secret that we just discovered. Jim Henry, if you've ever, am I muted? No.
No.
No, you're good.
I'm not kidding you guys. My mouse, I'm not touching it, and it's flipping around my screen. So anybody who has a Mac who understands what's happening with my mouse right now, there's a tech thing for you. It keeps switching to screen mode, and all right. But anyways, I am pretty sure that what I saw was an A10 mini on the floor and painter sticks attached to the buttons and the pedals to switch the cameras. So I'm just dying to do that. I'm just dying to try.
That's
Now
clever.
that's tech if I ever saw it. How about that? So okay, a new poll for you guys. How many of you are streaming just straight to Facebook with nothing in between, just doing it, clicking on your camera and making it happen? Nick, Elaine, Michael, David, Anna. Yeah, and and you're like, I don't know why you people bother with the rest of this stuff. Are you all thinking that? Okay, I understand. Somebody started a TikTok just then.
I was just going to say that this direct to Facebook is musually when we're just using the phone.
Right.
But if we want the, you know, the quote unquote good camera, which really is a much better camera, we do the, you know, going through OBS and all the extra hassle.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not.
Yep, you're there.
Okay. I was just curious what Dennis was using. I didn't know if that was a program in his computer or a bunch of switches that he's like, you know, like with the painter sticks.
Yeah.
It's a piece of software called OBS.
Okay, it's OBS that does that for you. My problem is that I'm doing interviews now at a desk behind me, and I've got the mannequin as a kind of a prop. But I call my friends on a landline with a microphone on the speaker, and I want to be able to set up another camera. I don't think I need 2, maybe 3 cameras, but I just want to flip a switch and go over there with that, because my computer, I'm going to leave it here next to the microphone and all of the gear. Does that make sense?
Are you using Zoom right now, Mike?
I'm on Zoom with you guys now, yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, if you have 2 cameras on your computer, you can Alt-N between them. Or Alt-N actually goes to the next one, and then when it gets to the last one, it starts over again.
On OBS.
No, on Zoom.
Oh, in Zoom. Yeah, I just go Facebook, but I'm thinking about going to YouTube Live.
Oh.
If Facebook, because the resolution on Facebook I hear is pretty bad, and I see that. I just don't know if I learn how to do If I learn how to do YouTube Live, when I bounce the signal, say with one of these StreamYard things, then I would have it on 2 areas for people to watch and a better resolution that becomes a YouTube video for me. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, I do everything on Facebook now, and I get a pretty good turnout because it's automatic and there's lots of friends that are tuning in, so I'm making money.
Right.
I'm afraid that when I leave the Facebook, even though the resolution's not that great and Facebook can be problematic, you know, in certain ways. If I go to YouTube, when I bounce the signal over to Facebook, I'm going to need to have 2 streams at least. And I wonder if the Facebook crowd is going to be tuning in, the way they would normally see it as an automatic notification.
That's where StreamYard would come in handy because you can stream to both places simultaneously.
Okay, and so I'll circle that, and then what does that do with my cameras?
Well, one way you could kind of hack the system is in StreamYard, you could log in 2 locations. So like maybe one from your phone, you know, I have like a little stand here from your phone, and then from your computer. Put one of you in the backstage area, and then just click on whichever one you want in the screen at that time. Now you have to worry about sound feedback if you're you know, dealing with that. But also you can somehow hook up OBS through to StreamYard. I don't know how. Somebody here does, but StreamYard is the best for going to, I mean, StreamYard is the simplest for going to 2 locations.
So, Brianna, would it be possible to open StreamYard in a couple different tabs on your browser and have each tab have a different camera? I haven't tried that yet, but it's a theory I have.
I mean, perhaps, but I would just do, yeah, I guess you probably could.
I think, Floyd, one problem with that is that the reason to use like a Streamlabs or Caster or something that does the multi-streaming is that every stream that you send out is reducing your bandwidth.
Well, I don't mean multiple streams, but I mean just switching from one view of you to another by a different tab. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a different way to get you in multiple views into one backstage area. You still need, as like the host, you still need the ability to kind of flip those switches. But I look at it more as a hack in the system than.
Sometimes we have to hack.
We do. And I mean, I've had musicians come on and actually do that. They'll do a share screen as one of their, they can share their screen, but their face is also here and their shared screen is here. And then they could log in again from a phone, and then I have controls as the host. So if they're logged in on the computer and the phone, I can do the switcheroo. But again, there's a high risk of getting an echo back. So getting audio from 2 sources. So you really got to plan to have audio only coming from one source.
I'm going to work on that.
I can see your brain working, Dennis. Like I could just see it.
I've got a friend who gave me the Samson Go mic that I'm using, and I've got a little webcam that he gave me. That's what I'm surviving on. The rest of my stuff is cafe gear I play out with. And what I'm doing is literally picking up my camera, walking it over to another spot, and sitting down at the desk. So I would like to see the computer, so I'm going to probably get a big screen where I can operate my computer right where it sits, even though I'm sitting 10 feet away from it. I'll have maybe a big screen that my wireless mouse will let me do that. But the same friend that gave me the Samson Go and the Logitech webcam said he's got something that's a 4-way switcher. It's physical, and you can set up cameras around and just toggle switch physically, and that'll all be pre-signal, right? Going into the one feed.
And that would be an OBS situation.
I think the Black Magic thing that Annie's holding up might be what you're discussing.
Yeah, OBS is, you're doing it on the computer. I'd like to do it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So do you find that problematic?
Well, no, we just, and to be honest with you, it's just about the cameras. I mean, because the situation with the cameras has been that getting it in front of and getting all the controls off the camera so that it's not, when you plug it in through HDMI, the HDMI out, and they're slightly older cameras. So that's just another technical piece of it. But the beauty of it, and
one thing for those, Annie, when folks are shopping around for cameras, what you're looking for is what they call a clean HDMI output.
Right. Exactly.
So, and that way you don't have any of the registration marks and the autofocus and all the little icons that go on it.
Yeah.
And some cameras support a clean output, others don't. So you want to check ahead of time before you spend several $100s on a camera.
Right. We're just using cameras we already had, which is the reason why. And they're
Yep.
older and then there's been some software updates and stuff. But what this does, I mean, it's very basic, but the thing about this, Michael, is this reads as one camera to your OBS. So then this is doing the switching, but you only need one input. So it's not like you're plugging multiple cameras in and asking OBS to find them. It's just one out.
That's what I was thinking of doing.
So
That's
I
what he was
think
going to
that
help me with. Yeah.
this is expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive. If you get a chance, catch Secors on YouTube. He's from Old Crow Medicine Show, and he does a weekly show. He has one camera that he's got on some kind of a pivot, and so when he moves around the room, he just has like an arm that he pulls around that camera and just follows him around, but it's all mechanical. But it's kind of cool the way he does that.
There's some GoPros now where you can set like a dot on someone, and so it'll follow like a virtual dot on something, and it'll follow that thing everywhere. That's like how drones do shots of like mountain bikers down the,
Yes, that is. I've just seen those ads in Instagram, like every other one. These little things that the cameras follow you around. They call them little paparazzis. David Roth, I see your hand up, Frank.
Oh, thank you for letting me slip in an unplanned question. Since you're talking about cameras, a friend of mine recommended the Logitech C920S, and I can't find them. Does anybody have experience with?
Michael.
Does anybody have experience with another camera that they really love? To play.
I can tell you one thing. Don't buy the cheapest one you can get.
No, I'm not interested in cheap.
Yeah, Canon, I know Andy's using this, I'm using it. Canon has some software that enables you to run USB from your high-end DSL or mirrorless straight into your laptop, and yeah, what Andy's got. And this is the quality I'm getting. I'm going to just switch to my laptop so you can see how bad.
But how much is that camera?
Second.
How much is that camera?
This camera.
Okay, so that's the bad video.
And Charlie, even your bad video looks better than some I've seen. I'm using just a Logitech cam on this with some weird lights. But David, the Logitech it's a Logitech camera.
Yeah.
Or a webcam.
Webcam.
It's a webcam that goes to USB into Reggie Harris's computer. He and I were talking.
Yeah, you can't get any Logitech webcams anymore. It's like, I mean, they're all sold out everywhere. Sorry, Brianna.
That's exactly, David.
Well, y'all drop.
I have the C290, whatever it's called. That's the model I've got working.
The C920S is the updated version. Yeah.
Let's see, what is mine?
Charlie and Annie, will y'all drop your favorite cameras in the chat so I can see the names and copy and paste?
And Chris had his hand up too on this one too. I'd love to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, I would also love to do like a quick round of favorite microphones. Just like, mid-level, not break the bank. I was like, oh, maybe I have enough money for a Myrtle or a ear trumpet, and then I was like, ha ha ha. Huh.
So I'm gonna say yes to that, but also as moderator and
yes, we're running out of time.
We are running past our usual stop time, which I'm okay with. I just want to keep us maybe within
perhaps
10 minutes. So let's do a
perhaps instead of voicing them out loud, people can just drop their favorite favorite mics or favorite cameras in the chat.
Oops.
I am about to get a Blue Yeti unless someone can talk me out of it.
Oh, I would. There's a Shure that I'm hearing really great things.
Yeah, the Shure is a much better mic.
What is it?
As an audio guy, it's the there's a 5 in the model number. And I can't remember.
The
Motive,
one, but
the Shure Motive something. I'll find it in just a second.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
My personal opinion, because we're musicians, is get a decent audio interface. I'm using a PreSonus. Annie's got what that Scarlett that
Scarlett, yeah.
I'm actually talking
but
more than I'm playing. Like I'm like the host more. So so I don't want to necessarily fiddle. But I
okay.
understand that interface thing.
But yeah, having versatility, I think, in your equipment is really helpful
Mhm.
because, who knows, we get a vaccine and we're all back to normal, and then you just want something that's going to work really well with your Pro Tools or something.
Yeah.
I've
been using an Apogee Mic Plus for voiceover work and sending it to a broadcast studio, and they said they've been pretty happy with it.
Hi, Tom Castle.
How's it going?
An hour late. Did you? Oh, you're on Central Time, aren't you?
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I've been away from it for so long, and then I thought, hey, I actually have nothing going on this afternoon. I'm just going to drop in.
Well, you drop in. It's nice to see you. I see 2 blue hands up, and I'm not sure if those are just leftover. Mark, did you have another question, Mark?
No,
Okay.
my hand finally came up.
It just finally came up after all. Elaine, I see your hand up too, honey. Is it still just leftover?
Well, I think this is a conversation that you want to have later, probably. But everything we've talked about is money, right? Like all the tech, all the streaming. And the question is, what are you doing and can you make any money from it? Like at all? And how many views are you getting and how much and how much time can you put in? For OBS, like I put in, I don't know, maybe 30 hours one week learning about OBS and learning about Restream. And I spent 10 hours a week for maybe 6 weeks adding Facebook followers to get more so I'd have a bigger audience. And you don't get paid for any of those things anyway. And I'm just, right now I'm doing a weekly show that's just me talking with a cappella singing. It's 30 minutes. And I can't break above about 300 views for that a week. And I spend a lot of time
ask those 300 views to give you a few bucks.
Which I think I'm going to start doing. We just passed the 20th episode, but every single thing we've talked about has a dollar value and a time value. So I would love at some point to hear how other people are handling the time and money costs and where to make. That's why I went with just talking 30 minutes, and it still cost me an extra $30 a month just for the internet upgrade, and all the time. Maybe this is maybe I'm the only one who has this frustration.
I think it's a common frustration. I want to say 2 quick things about that. One is that we did a couple money talks. Patreon seems to be going really well for people if you consider Patreon. Again, another time-consuming effort. But one filter, my second thing is one filter I've been using for anything I'm doing right now during the pandemic. It has to make sense long-term. Because right now, I don't feel like I'm going to get money back, but it is an investment of time and energy. And hopefully I'll see that investment pay back. It might be a couple years, but the fact that about OBS is very valuable now. And you could share that value on the side too. And the fact that you are doing 30 minutes a week is valuable in itself because it's a connection and it's keeping your folks engaged and that is going to pay off in the long term as well.
And don't be afraid to ask for money.
Don't be afraid to ask for money.
Has someone found a good way to ask for money on Facebook, which doesn't include banners? How do you do it on Facebook?
I do it right behind my head. Look at this. Over
Yep.
here.
Oh, do it, Mike.
Out loud.
Just
say it out loud.
Behind your head. It works really well.
Read that Amanda Shire's book, or not Amanda Shire's. Who is it?
I know who you're talking about. Neil, what's her name's wife?
It's not Amanda Shire's. Who is it?
Amanda Palmer.
Palmer. Yes, read that book.
You can also put text on the screen with OBS.
Right. I have to upgrade my whole operating system to get OBS. So that's why
you can do text on the screen in StreamYard too.
One thing I've found too is with my diving in head first on all the video stuff and doing as much as I can, and I'm getting better and better and better at it, is that different organizations locally and everywhere, they're asking me to do things, whether it be teaching or putting on, doing a couple songs for something they're doing, because they trust that when I put something together, I'm putting a lot of effort into it and coming out with something that looks decent, and that they're not gonna need to hold my hand through it. So all the time, Elaine, you're putting into educating yourself and the money that you're spending. For myself, I just keep reminding myself, just do what you're doing and do the best you can with it, and hopefully it'll turn out for the best. And so far, I joked in the chat with you about ramen. We've been putting shrimp in the ramen, so life's not been horrible.
Oh, you guys, I want to do just sorry, I'm going to throw a big wrench in this great conversation, but I do want to remind you all that we have a community peer session next week, so a week from Thursday, and those typically can last an hour and a half. And this kind of conversation can keep going. So Elaine, come back to that one. You can talk more and hear more about people that are doing their donations and how they're handling it. Michael, I know you've got a lot to share because you've been really active out there, and I really appreciate all the input from everybody. And I particularly appreciate our panelists, Judd Caswell. I almost said Judd Nelson. I'm sorry. You Judds. Any last words, Judd? Do you want to share?
Last words? What do you have planned for me?
No, we're all going to be shutting down here in a moment. If y'all know how to save the chat, there's a lot of good information on the chat, and I will also save it and share it. But go ahead, Judd.
Yeah, that's super. How do you save the chat? I don't know how to do that.
Through 3 little dots in the lower right corner where the next and just save chat. We'll drop that.
Super. No, this has been great. I'm gonna go spend the next week working on streaming now.
Because you've just been making videos.
I mean, I haven't
but you've been making some really amazing videos, and like
That's most of what I've been doing.
Every day.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
For a long time.
Very valid thing. Yeah.
But I think live is really cool. Live's a really different thing. Yeah. I think that the question that I would want to maybe again for the next peer chat. I mean, all of these things are money, right? And the question isn't just how much money do you put into it. The question is where do you put that money first? Like, do you get a nicer microphone? Do you get a nicer camera? If you do you I'm not doing the switching mics because I'm switching cameras because I sort of have a good camera. I don't have another good camera, and I've sort of decided I'd rather have high video quality and just one video than to switch to something that's sort of grainy in a webcam. But I don't know. That was my gut feel for it. I don't know that anybody knows for sure what the right call is. How do you make those choices?
It's your personal choice for starters, I would think. And I think sound is first and foremost the most important thing, because it doesn't matter how good you look if the sound sucks.
Yeah.
And then the camera, and I agree with you, start simple, basic, and then work yourself up from there if you want. But we are throwing a lot of information at everybody every week, and they're just options. They're things that you can try. They're things that wait and see what fixed. Like Elaine, you hated Restream. I mean, I'm sure you're not alone. Like Brianna's on StreamYard, and I know that Tret did a talk a couple weeks ago on Streamlabs, which is like StreamYard and OBS in one. And so that's even cooler, right? So we didn't even bring that up today. So if you want to just go poke around on the Farm Virtual Connections website and check all the previous talks that we've had. And I love these open Q&As because you guys all have so much great information. and we could probably talk for another hour, but I think we're tapped out at this point. So, and again, Dennis, thank you so much for joining us today. Lots of great info. Any last words? 30 seconds or less.
Yeah. So way back in 1964, when I was watching the Beatles on Ed Sullivan, and I'm saying, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. Nobody said, but it's hard. It's hard to do. Nobody said that, but it's still fun. It's still fun.
I love that. Perfect. Charlie Mosbrook, any last words?
Not really. Have fun with it and dig into it. I was thinking about this last night, how, as bad as this year has been in so many ways for so many people, and I did my first in-person gig the other day since March, and as weird as all of this is, I've really dug the opportunity to dig into this whole new art form, and it's just opened my world up in so many ways to explore new things. And really, as an artist, first and foremost, that's what I love doing. It's exploring and figuring out how to make things work, and to make things that other people will translate to other people, and carry that emotion and hopefully lift people up, and all the things we go for art. So I've really dug this time, and I just encourage everybody to play with it and have fun with it. No matter what you have, if you're working with your iPad and a couple of clamp lights and the cheap mic, just make it the best you can. There's so many cheap and cool ways to make it cool. And if Congress gives us another stimulus, go spend it. Buy gear.
Buy gear.
Buy gear. And if the world ends tomorrow, we've had fun getting there.
Oh, okay about that. Thank you, Charlie. Brianna, you get the last word on this one.
There was Brianna.
Yeah, nothing.
How about an accessibility workshop?
Yeah, let's do a little advertisement instead. We're doing an accessibility workshop on Friday at 1 o'clock. Wait,
well, it's
2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central. And Charlie's on that panel. I am moderating, and we have Amy Dixon Kohler, who is also talking with us. We're going to make it a big Q&A. We're going to talk a lot about being accessible when we get back to live in-person events, but also being accessible online like this. Like, you notice we did not have captions, which is a big part of accessibility online. We will have captions on Friday, so it'll be better for folks that are hard of hearing. And we're just going to talk about ideas and what disability means and accessibility means. And I hope y'all can make it to that one. Of course, we will record it and archive it on our website. Annie's been doing just such an amazing job just adapting to all this, and we're staying constant with programming. Some really good stuff coming up in October too, because October is usually when we have the in-person gathering. So please, if you're not on the mailing list, that's the best way to keep in touch with us. We also try to put stuff up on social media, and we have a Facebook group that y'all can talk and advertise your own stuff in as well, and join us for those peer group sessions. I love all of this. I think people are adapting well, even though it's challenging, and adaptation is just like creative problem solving, and we're all really creative people, and it's been really awesome to be in this community with you all. So thank you.
Yeah, find a buddy. I mean, these talks are great, but find a buddy that's doing what you want to be doing, and ask for help. But yeah, this is a great chat. We're going to keep doing it, and I hope you all will join us again. If you're not, like Brianna said, on our mailing list, please join. And I hope you have a great day, the rest of your day, the rest of your week. And I hate this part, but this is what happens. Everybody wave. Thank you all so much for coming out today and hanging with us. We'll see you next time.